We're on to Cincinnati. Literally.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people probably feel that way, but
are people, how were you worked up about this loss?
I was pretty worked up about it, man. Definitely.
Like, if in general, I get it. You're going to have these nights. This is what the Celtics are now, right? Like, there's not a huge margin for error. So if Derek White has an off night, if Jaylen Brown gets in foul trouble, it gets a lot harder to beat even a team that has 2, but now 3 wins. And we were saying it all night. Like, we really like this Nets team. Like, there's some pieces here that are going to be good down the road. Still, it's frustrating when you get it to 2 midway through the fourth quarter. It feels like you get all the momentum and you just kind of give it all back. So, like I said, I'm less worked up tonight than I am normally after like some of those close losses in Philly or against Philly. But it felt like they had momentum. Everything was pushing the right way. And you just could not turn the Nets off long enough to get to the finish line of this win.
I know we're going to focus a lot on the third quarter and the end of the third quarter and that 21-4 run by Brooklyn that just where they took control of the game. It was 90-72 before Luka Garza hit that 3. But when you go back to the second, that's when Brooklyn put up 40 points in that first half. What was your take on what were you seeing from the Celtics defensively?
I just thought they had to be, very aware because we just played this team a couple nights ago, and anytime you give a group of young guys confidence and, obviously get them feeling well, they were touching our paint, they were hitting shots, the ball was moving. I thought by the time they went into halftime, they really believed they could win. They were on a roll, and when it comes down to teams that don't really see positivity, they know how to, ride the wave, and this is the NBA. But you see how many times our paint got touched. You see how many times they closed out and were able to force turnovers. I feel like they thought they just, ended what they started the other night.
Well, let me follow up because what is that feeling when you're on the other side, when you're on the Brooklyn side of things, and it's like, we might be able to win this game if we just, play high defensively, come up with steals, just get to the basket, which has felt like exactly what they're doing in the third quarter. That confidence grows, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to use Terrence Mann as an example because he showed that feeling a few times when he got a couple stops, and it wasn't even buckets. It was just something as little as like getting a turnover, forcing a deflection. I just felt like their energy was so much higher than ours the whole night, and they kind of set the tone through a punch. And like I said prior to, it's all about how you start the third quarter. And anytime you get, the go-to guy, the 1B or whatever, anytime you get him in his 5th foul, it's over. Like, especially with a young team, and we struggled to handle the pressure.
They never looked uncomfortable, right? Like from the jump, Clowney got wherever he wanted. If you'd never seen a Nets game or an NBA game, you'd be like, oh, is that guy an all-star?
Yeah.
Because he was just whatever he wanted to do in that first half. And Claxton was great, and obviously our bigs were struggling early. There were pockets of that second half that were encouraging. That the first 6 minutes there, like they turned it up a level, and Ugo got out there. We can spend a whole Ugo block on what that energy does when a team is kind of floundering. I was surprised they didn't go to him earlier. But in general, you just gotta, when things aren't going your way, how do you find a way to kind of cobble it together? And I didn't feel like the Celtics ever found it.
Yeah, and you mentioned Claxton. He had a triple-double. He played tremendous the whole night. But even when you're saying, like, I think you summarized this, he touched the paint the whole night. And I kind of feel like we kept moving backwards as opposed to stepping up and, stopping them from doing what they want to do. Claxton was literally a triple-double.
Even in that third quarter, you mentioned it, right? Like the big stretch to me was not only were they pulling away, but Joe loses a challenge.
They lost the challenge on Jaylen's 5th foul.
On Jaylen's 5th foul, which was clearly not going to get overturned. When you hit somebody, it's not getting overturned. Then the Nets use a challenge, I think Simons had gotten fouled.
Yeah, that shooting a 3,
right?
No less.
And so all of a sudden, you can just feel like the air coming out of it there, and then the deficit's too big at that point, and you're climbing uphill. Okay,
well, and the Celtics were doing that as they got to the fourth quarter, and they got all the way back to within 2. But fall in this one, 113-105. Let's get to the Ford Tough Play. The game presented by Ford Trucks. It's Truck Month New England, built Ford Tough. This is the C's trying to come back in this game. Anthony Simons.
Evan's guy.
Yeah, this is my guy for sure. Definitely a bucket. That was my rookie. He used to bring my bag home. But I definitely was cheering for him. He had a good night. I appreciate his toughness.
Yes.
You guys showed the offensive ability, but I'm watching this kid evolve as a defender. The whole night he picked up. Even after a couple of games ago when we were like, oh, is he out of it? He only played 3 minutes, 0 for 3. He's responding back with toughness, which we really need. And that's a bright sign, especially until Derek White gets going. We can't forget what type of scorer Anthony Simons is.
33 minutes for Simons tonight, 23 points in this one.
And in the past couple seasons, he's had multiple games with 7+ 3-point shooter, 3-point mates. So if Derek White can't get going, we have somebody that's very capable to step up.
All right, 113-105, your final score. We'll talk more about it coming up next here on Celtics Postgame Live. All right, welcome back to Celtics Postgame Plus, for the Celtics falling in this one 113-105. Time now to hear from Joe Mazzulla. His thoughts on this game. The coach's press conference is presented by Amica Insurance, the exclusive auto, home, and life insurance partner of the Boston Celtics. Here is Joe Mazzulla.
I saw a stat that Derek's got some of the biggest increase in dribble creation responsibility compared to last year. What are you seeing from him in a newer role or just an adjusted role to begin this year, obviously with more responsibility? And how can you guys make the game a little easier for him sometimes?
I've never heard of that stat. And what is it?
The biggest increase in dribble creation responsibility compared to last year. I don't know the stat specifically, but he's got one of the biggest increases in it this year.
What's the significance of it?
That he has to create more for the dribble off himself,
yeah, I mean, I think that's just, he's a point guard coming off pick and roll. I mean, does that factor in pick and roll creation, or is that, that's what he does. He's really good playing in pick and roll there. So, he's doing okay. He's, didn't play well tonight, obviously. Missed some, easy shots. But overall, as far as the season goes, I think his creation in 2-on-1 is one of the best things he does, just getting downhill and pick and roll in 2-on-2 and, either making the right play for him or kick out. So he's got to continue to work on it.
Sam. Joe, tonight was a season high for Anthony in minutes. What led to him being able to be on the floor, and what was he doing effectively to allow you to keep him out there?
Yeah, I thought he was one of the better ones, guards tonight, handling the aggressive pick and roll coverage. Whether it was, hitting the pocket pass or, beating to the outside leg and kind of being dynamic in his offensive attack. And, I thought his presence defensively was, probably the best it's been all season. So I thought he just played well, and, he deserved to be out there.
Jack.
All right, back here with Eddie House on Celtics Postgame Plus. And Eddie, I know there was the one question there, particularly about, Derek White trying to create shots off the dribble, which is maybe something he wasn't asked to do as much last year. Is there some other way they can kind of get him going? Just 2 of 13 from the field tonight, 1 of 7 from 3. Do you feel like there's another way they can kind of get him going?
I don't think it's him per se. Anybody else except himself, excuse me. I don't think that they have to do anything in particular because everything is happening and he's getting the shots that he's usually knocking down. What I love the way that Joe protected his player. He didn't throw him under the bus. We all know Derek White is not playing up or not shooting up to, I ain't going to say playing, but not shooting up to the standard that we're used to seeing him shoot at. And he's definitely have a different role right now. And I think he's still trying to figure out how to get into that role. I've been talking about that all season long because it's different from having Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown out there, Porzingis out there, and all these other guys that, when you're looked at the last guy that anybody's looking at or the fourth guy on the floor is different. And so now when you're the second guy that's being looked at or the third guy that's being looked at and the scouting report is totally on you guys, is different. And so, that comes with pressure and that comes with also understanding and being able to adapt to that. And I think it's just going to take some time. And I thought that time had came and passed, but right now, let's just keep it real. We don't defend. So we can't sit here and point at Derek White and be like, hey, yeah, you're the, if you knock down shots, let's just keep it all the way 100 out here. We don't defend. And that's the problem. We have problems defending at times, and that doesn't give us extra opportunities on the offensive end. That doesn't allow us to get out in transition. that doesn't allow us to get these open shots, the one pass to another pass in the corner and the easy bucket, or the drive to the drop down for the dunk. We don't have that. We don't have the guy that's in the dunker spot like we did last year. This is a total different team. So we have to start looking at it in a different way. And we can't start pointing fingers at an individual. We got to start pointing fingers at everybody that's involved with what's going on right now. And it starts with the defensive end of the basketball.
Saw Brooklyn shoot 52% from the field in this one. Obviously, Michael Porter Jr. had a massive run throughout that game. What do we got going on here?
We only have one positive tonight.
Oh, boy. We still have one more.
It's a little birthday. Yeah, we got a post-up show to do, so you have to come out now. We're not doing it. We're not singing. We're not singing. No one wants to watch the show about singing.
Happy birthday to you. I know you hate this, but you are the MVP.
Oh, this is
Most valuable.
Kayla would pick
man.
this up too. KB, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
That it is the most
Giles,
amazing
I had
cake.
no
And
idea.
so normally I would say let's not acknowledge a birthday, especially after a loss. But
Yeah.
Giles, I appreciate you.
Yeah, concourse games with a birthday just haven't been good so far this year.
We're kind of over.
Lost on Brad's birthday.
Yeah.
Jalen's birthday.
Yeah.
And Giles' birthday. So no more birthdays. Birthdays are canceled for 2026.
But we're still celebrating.
You guys are the best. Celtics post up coming up
Happy
in just
birthday,
a bit.
man.
I do believe
Eating the cake.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I can't remember where we were. What do we? Are you going to stick around? I think you have to go get ready for Celtics post up.
Post up, Plizza!
Off the rails. Here we go. Game 16.
Hey, is JoJo getting a bite of that? Is JoJo going to get a piece? You going to let JoJo get a little
sure,
bit of that?
definitely. I'll save a piece for the little guy. No doubt. No doubt.
You got to.
All right, we were talking about the Celtics defense. You know what? Since we just had that moment, let's go to a positive and talk about Jaylen Brown tonight. Obviously, he was kind of getting them back in that game in that third quarter where the Celtics were down by 12. Jaylen Brown was going on his own individual run before he picked up that fifth foul. Does finish with 26 points and the 8 rebounds. Your thoughts on what you saw from Jaylen Brown when he was on there?
Well, this is the thing, what we've been talking about with Jaylen Brown. You can basically pencil him in for 25 points and being efficient. Look at that stat line right there. He got the 8 rebounds, 4 assists. So he's doing everything that he can do. And I don't know what else you would want him to do. We'll go out there and average 37. Other guys are going to have to step up offensively, but then also more than offensively, team-wise, everybody got to step up defensively. But as far as Jaylen Brown, I think that he has been the biggest positive, the silver lining in his season in a 500 basketball team. And we've been watching all these games, right? And so we 8-8 right now. We look like a 500 basketball team because sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. And that's usually, you get 50-50. You either have it or you don't. And so that's what we look like right now until we change. I really think it has to change on the defensive end, Giles. That's my point, is that if it doesn't change on that side of the basketball, on that side of the court, then I don't know how we're going to try to outscore people when we don't have a Jayson Tatum and a Jaylen Brown. And then Derek White is able to do what he does because he's a third guy or a fourth guy, and then Clayton Pritchard being a third or fourth guy, and whoever's coming in. We just don't have those offensive forces, and there's nothing wrong with that. You could be a defensive team, but you have to lean into that, and you have to buy into it to give yourself extra opportunities on the offensive end.
Yeah, and obviously the Celtics not doing enough of that tonight as they fall in this 113-105. Let's get to the dunk of the game. It's all about the dunk. And it was Nimi Keita who came up with 16 points, had 12 rebounds in this game, also won the Tommy Award from Scal as well. One more look at it. That was in the first half. Times were pretty good back then, Jayson Tatum had a great reaction to that one as well on the bench for the Celtics. But again, they fall by 8. Coming up next, we're going to look ahead to Sunday's game. Get you set for that as your Celtics coverage continues. let's get to tonight's Drain of the Game, brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, the name to know when the drains don't flow. And Luka Garza was 2 of 2 from 3 tonight. Knocking down this one from the top of the key. The Celtics were 9 of 21 from 3 in the first half. 9 of 21 in the first half. Just 2 of 13 in the second half. Luka Garza did have 1 of them. And especially at a time when the Celtics needed it as well, as they were struggling at that point, down 92 to 70, Eddie. And obviously they fall this one 113 to 105. Now you look ahead, the schedule getting tougher. So even though they lost tonight, as a Brooklyn team that picked up his 3rd win of the season, and the first 2 wins were against Indiana and Washington, Celtics going to have to go up against an Orlando team that's played pretty good basketball, albeit they did drop their last one in the Celtics when the Celtics were able to split those 2 games a couple weeks ago down in Orlando. Your thoughts on that matchup coming your way on Sunday?
Well, it's going to be tough. I think that when you look at what Orlando has done, I want to say over the last week or a little bit longer than a week, they've been playing really good basketball, even though Paolo is out had been out with his hamstring or whatever it was, or groin. I don't remember exactly what the injury was. I know it was a leg injury. They've been playing good basketball, and they've always played us tough, and they always play hard. They always come with a certain sense of urgency when they play against the Celtics for whatever reason. And I look at it like, we have to come out and exceed that energy. I think this was a great opportunity to kind of build some wins. And, we lose against Brooklyn this game right here. Like, these are the games you can't just drop, because you want to stack wins at the beginning of the season, because when it comes down to the crunch time, everybody's playing for something. A lot of people are. And you're usually going to be playing against them. And so if you don't have that, then, you're going to be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, and you look at the rest of the November as well. After Orlando, it's Detroit, who's played really, really good. You got a road test at Minnesota, road test at Cleveland. So these are 4 games coming up here. They're going to be tough tests for the Celtics, and certainly you'd feel a little differently if they were 9-7 at this point instead of 8-8. But such is the case as they fall to Brooklyn tonight, get a chance to bounce back in their own building against Orlando, and then they'll play at home against Detroit next Wednesday before they go out on that road trip. But again, Celtics back in action Sunday against the Magic. Our coverage begins at 5:30 with Celtics pregame live presented by TD Bank. Stay with us after the game for highlights and player and coach reaction on Celtics postgame live presented by your New England Ford dealers. And remember, you can stream all of our coverage on the NBC Sports app and NBCSportsBoston.com. The Celtics live stream is brought to you by your New England Cadillac dealers, the official luxury vehicle of the Boston Celtics. All right, a disappointing loss here at the Garden tonight. Celtics fall 113-105 in NBA Cup play. Now 8-8 on the season. You will hear from Jaylen Brown, who addressed the media just a few moments ago. That's coming your way next on Celtics Post Up, where Caleb Burton and Chris Forsberg going to keep this party going. Again, it's not the outcome that anyone expected or anyone really wanted, but the Brooklyn Nets
Happy birthday,
did their
John.
part. Celtics Post Up with Kayla and Chris coming up next. Have a good night, Eddie.